Uladzislau Khandohi.
We are broadcasting from the Mizne.
כעת להפסקה באולם, וכאן במוזיאון תל אביב נקיים דיון נוסף. We're taking a break in the auditorium, and here in the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, we'll host one more discussion moderated by pianist and board member of the Arthur Rubinstein International Music Society, Tal Sakharov.
We are broadcasting from the Mizne Blumenthal Gallery at the Tel Aviv Museum of Art. Today, I'm very happy to host two program directors from leading high school classical music departments in Israel. Among their graduates are many generations of musicians, performers, and creators working today in Israel and around the world. So I would like to welcome Dr. Ofir Izletsky. He's the director of music department at the 6th-year Reut School of Arts in Haifa. And Mr. Nimrod Gaon, hello, the director of music department at the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance High School.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so welcome and thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
So first of all, it will be very interesting for me to hear and you can elaborate about the uniqueness of your department. Let's start with you.
Well, I think there needs to be a backstory because some people don't know that the departments of music in Israel are divided between, I would say, normal departments and departments that have a unique program in music. And both of our schools have a unique program in music, which basically means that it's written specifically by the staff for the students because of a level that isn't commensurate with the normal study level of the Ministry of Education in music. So that's the first thing that sets us apart and kind of binds us together with, I think, only one more school in Israel, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Thelma Yeliner, yeah. Or the Green Village in Netanya, yeah.
Yeah, so very few schools in Israel have a music program that has this unique program. And again, we have similar programs in classical music, and we might have completely different orientations according to our students. In the differentiation between schools, our school in the north is probably, I think it is actually the only school in the north of Israel that gives this kind of program in classical music. So students come to us from all over the north. It's based in Haifa, but we have students coming in from as far as Megiddo, the Kinneret, we had a student last year that came every day from almost the border of Lebanon.
Wow.
So people come from all over because it's the only school that gives this, basically this level of studies. I think that's the main answer.
Okay.
I must agree with Ofir that both of our schools, they offer a unique program for very high-level musicians, teenagers. And I can say about the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance High School that also gives special programs for the students that are very active, I must say. They play in the Israeli Youth Philharmonic Orchestra. They have their chamber music. They go to competitions abroad. They play concerts here in Israel as well. So we also offer special programs I would say, in studying the regular subjects as well. Absolutely, they have special programs that are built for them. So the school is actually quite flexible because its main aim is to build them a place where they can build a classical music career in the future, and they must have the time for it.
Yeah. Nice. Both of you are graduates of your own school, right?
Yeah.
It's an addiction, actually, I must say.
How does it feel to be suddenly in this kind of position?
I must say that I left music for a long time. I went to a long army service, and then I studied absolutely something else in university. But music just came back to me, and I had to come back. And I always wanted to teach, also because I think that we have a very big responsibility also for the future generation of classical music players. I think in Israel especially. I think the best musicians also, they were players, conductors, teachers as well.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that is very crucial for musicians. So actually, it's a funny story. I went to the High Academy in Jerusalem after I was graduating psychology in the Hebrew University to study conducting. And then I saw my history teacher who became the principal of our school. In the street, he was like, "You are coming to teach solfege and ear training and music harmony in our school now." And I was a bit afraid because the high school was very intense for me, although I loved it. And then I was so thrilled and excited, so I told him, yes, I will start, I will see how it goes. And I fell in love again. I fell in love with the kids, with the music education, with the music itself. And for me, it was really, really amazing and exciting closure.
Yeah. Nice.
I can only repeat your words in mode because for me it was a very similar process. I think I started music very early, but for me music really started becoming a serious subject when I went to, then it was called the Vitso School, it is now the Re'ud School, but it's the same building. And I think it kind of set the bar for me because I came in late in studies, I came only in the 11th grade, and the bar was very, very high. And I remember at first thinking, I'm never going to make it. And this kind of not only set a standard for me personally as a musician, but it also set a standard for me as a teacher, because soon after, through many teachers that I met, not only in school, but after as well, I started realizing that teaching is probably going to be my profession, not as a necessity, but just because I really felt very close to these people who made a change in my life. Yeah. And returning to the Re'ud School was quite by chance, because I returned to Israel many years after being a professional abroad. And like every professional who returns to Israel, I was trying to work everywhere I could, and I taught there as well. And then I got an offer to, similarly to yours, it's quite funny, I got an offer to come back to the Re'ud School. And through a chance of events, I became the head of the music department through the years. So it was all sort of chances, but I remember thinking to myself when I took on the role of leadership in the department that I feel this more of a calling rather than as a profession. I really felt that this is something that I have to do, not because I thought there was a problem, just because I thought who could be better other than a person that is already there, already knows the students and knows the school and its history. Yeah,
I think so too. I was really admiring my teachers when I was in my high school. So I have also affection for the place and for the students. That's why I was really also quite
to give them a similar experience.
Absolutely,
yeah. That's very nice. So if we're speaking about each and one of you with his own career, so can you say a few words about the admission process? I mean, how does it work in each of one of you, and who is actually calling the shots? Yeah,
I would start. Yeah. Because we just finished our exams for the 7th grade in our high school. It's quite intense, it's quite challenging, I would say, because sometimes students and children, they flourish and they bloom quite late. So I must say, I must start with the point that sometimes we miss. But in general, what we do, I mean, we sit the principal, myself, and educators of the school. We chat with them a little bit to see their character, their passion for music. If it comes from inside, actually, you can feel it because children are very honest. Yeah. So you can feel it from inside if they have the passion and not something that has to do with parents or other person's dreams. Yeah. And of course, if they have any intuition that is convincing. I think this is the main thing. Okay, we make exams in ear training, reading, playing, but I think that passion and intuition, I think this is the most important thing. And if it's convincing, so it's done, we take them.
So it's actually more about your intuition and the passion than actual the audition level, playing in the audition.
Sometimes we see brilliant players.
Yeah, of course.
But it's a thing that some of them, they start really in very intense and high progress, and then they collapse. Because if it doesn't come from inside, it's not a cliche, it's really, I can see it. If it doesn't come from inside, that you have this fire, so it's becoming challenges. I see a lot of children that are in the very beginning, they are very beginners, and they grow really fast because they have something that is very honest inside.
And what about your school?
I mean, the process is quite similar to what Nimod described, and I think the difference, I'm not entirely sure of what I'm saying is true, but our school is actually divided into two schools, the junior school and the high school. So we have two separate processes every year, which just ended now, actually, as well. And as Nimrod said, with the younger students...
You're sitting in both?
And I oversee both of them. And for our school, there's many different categories of exams that they have to go through, but we have the final veto, as they say. We have the final call. If the student is not, has flying color exams in every other subject, but he can't really convince us, the professional teachers, that he's worthy of the place in school, which are barred. There's a few places that we can afford to get in. So we have to call the shots, and it's a guess. It's a guess, because sometimes you don't know. Of course, there's students that come in, and it's a shoo-in. It's clear that they're going to be great.
Yeah.
They're great performers, and sometimes you have to, especially with the young students, the kids come in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Some of them have just started playing their instrument, and so you have to make an educated guess as to their passion, as to their level of involvement. Have discussions about other things rather than just the music. Sometimes it's quite misleading.
Yeah.
Ear training exams also several times help you kind of distinct between students, but all of these things eventually have to go down to intuition. You have to feel the student and realize whether you think there'll be a match. And for us in the high school, it's much easier because we have all of the kids coming over from the junior. So at least we have a level that we know we can kind of set the bar to, say, okay, you have to be at this level in order to get in, or you have to come to that level at least. So it becomes easier for us in that way.
Actually, I have to ask a question.
Sure.
Sure.
If you see that someone, I mean, why do you have extra exams going to the high school? What do you see? Why do you need it actually?
We have extra exams for the high school, not for the children that come from the junior high, but for children who come from other schools. Because as I said, it's the school for the entire north. So a lot of kids will be coming from different schools because they don't live in Haifa.
Right.
And then they don't have any other school in their area that will give them this kind of opportunity. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, usually the kids from the junior high, they get, unless it's a very, very extreme case, they get admitted into the program of the high school immediately. And so we have that benefit, I guess.
Yeah, we also, what we see also in our high school, that a lot of children, when they reach the age of 15, 16, they decide actually if they want to continue to become professional, or they leave.
Absolutely.
So it's like a door that opens and closes. When they're 15, we get a lot of students that are...
New applications.
They want to be classical musicians also from other schools in Jerusalem, and a lot of them leave actually, because they see that it's getting quite intense and challenging. So yeah, 15, 16, it's quite a challenging and important age for this career.
Do you remember if anything happened like that you know that you missed someone and now he's having like a career because he chose another method of going into...
We definitely, there are a few students that we know that we've missed due to orientation. There are students who came over and we thought that they were just perfect in terms of their capacity for music, but you saw that they wouldn't be able to be interested and gripped by the music program that we offer because they weren't at all interested in classical music. So that's something that we have each and every year. Unfortunately, I haven't been in the school so long to actually see people flourish in their careers to the extent that you mean. But it will happen, I'm sure. It's impossible for it not to happen because we do miss a lot of students. And as Nimod said, we have students in the junior high who eventually decide, I'm going to keep on doing music. I'm just not going to do it in high school. No, not in high school, because it's just a very, very grueling program. In both our schools, I think, we were just talking about this earlier, I mean, kids come home 5, 6 p.m. every day. And that's only from school, and then they have to continue studying, continue playing.
They have to practice, they have their conservatory. Jerusalem has a very strong 2 conservatories. They have their own chamber music programs and orchestras. They have so many obligations.
Yeah. And so this is another thing that we look at to see, to kind of check that they realize what kind of program that they're coming into. Yeah. Because then they go inside and they're like, this is overwhelming.
I must say also that I had students that they were saying, listen, I want to play all day. I think only about my career. I don't want to study math, history, anything. And actually, I must say that we miss them as well because they give inspiration. They are very high level, but they are not used to the system. They want only to play. Yeah. So and we had few of them actually.
So then, after a few years, they are kicked out because they cannot
Or they're not let in, I guess.
cope with the
We
other
want them in,
studies.
but they cannot cope with the system.
Yeah, it's very challenging.
We have also our obligations for the Ministry of Education, etc., etc. So, but if I could, I would have them until they grow 18 and keep them.
Yeah. I have an interesting question. Do you feel there is a change or, I don't know, a trend in choosing a specific instrument, like in the past 5 years or so, which is different than, let's say, a decade or something? Is it something that is changing, or?
Unfortunately, not for us. I think that we always deal with a similar situation, that we have too many of a similar instrument. You can imagine which one it is. It's related to this whole program. We have so many pianists.
Of course.
And unfortunately, the problem that we're dealing with is that we all want to create our own ensembles and big ensembles, and then you're always missing the trombones and the tuba and the oboe. And so usually we get similar instruments. I wish we'd see a change, and we try to find ways inside the school to gear students towards taking a new instrument, or kind of choosing a second instrument at least. But it's tricky terrain, because you don't want them to kind of go off the rail.
I was also afraid in Jerusalem that there was a kind of process that I mean, the Jerusalem Academy of Music in high school, it has a very strong classical department, and we saw that Jerusalem is becoming a bit more filled with drum players and jazz trumpet. I mean, outside also the conservatories, yes, and they were coming for our exams, so we were a bit afraid, but I must say that in the past few years, as I told you before, we have two strong conservatories in Jerusalem, classical education, and the Sadna Conservatory and the Jerusalem Academy Conservatory, and we are supplied with all the classical instruments, and we have balance, actually. So in the past few years in Jerusalem, I think the situation is quite satisfying. So I hope it keeps that way.
We've had actually, I don't know if it's something that happened in recent years or we just made a change in orientation. We've decided to open like a jazz contingent in our school. They still have to study the classical music program, and they study it in one class. We don't have enough students to open separate pathways in jazz and in the classical music, but that's something that's happened recently. So I think that if we went in the high school that I studied, it was too small to actually have two contingents simultaneously. It was only classical. And now we have a lot of people coming in from a jazz orientation, and I'm actually quite happy that they do, because they've proven themselves. Me as a classical musician, I always come with this bias, oh, they're not going to be able to do as well. Actually, they've proven me wrong in so many ways. Some of our
not being serious enough as jazz players.
Exactly. So they've proven me wrong. I have to actually backtrack, because they've really outshone in many ways. And now we have like a jazz contingent in school as well, with big bands and jazz ensembles. So that's something very exciting. But again, I don't know if it's something that has changed in recent years, or it's just that the school has become bigger and opened up towards that as well.
We are experiencing the same process, actually. We're opening a small, very small department of jazz players, which are very serious, and we're thinking about how to make it
I have one last question, I think, and we have one last minute. Are you really pushing your students to go to competitions or not?
Depends on the student. I find myself in this problem, because there's some students where I think they're there technically and they can do it, but I don't feel that it's right for them. And there's some students that I think,
you encourage it?
I encourage it in personal conversations. I say, this is something I think you should do, but I always do it very carefully. It would start with a text saying, oh, what do you think about this? Is this something that could interest you? It could be a composer, it could be a competition.
Player, of course.
So it's something like that. I usually try to be very cautious with it, because I don't want it to seem as if I'm saying, oh, you must do this in order to succeed. On the other hand, we know how the world works. So if it's somebody that I feel it's something that they should start thinking of, I'll start bringing it up more and more.
I totally agree. I think it has to do with also if the student is ambitious and he has the mental strength.
Personality.
Yeah, absolutely. Personality. Some students are great, but they don't have I wouldn't say the mental strength, because it's just another character. So I also experience students that come, I need to play in a competition, can you help me? So as a field, we're just saying, I think it really has to do with the character of the student and his personality. Some people flourish from competition, and some they are frozen, they cannot keep it anymore. So it has to do actually with the student himself.
One last question, I think. How do you see the potential of collaboration with other institutes, other conservatories in the area, maybe with other competitions in the area or in the country? Do you think there is a room for more collaboration? Is there no collaboration? What do you think?
It's probably very different in different cities because we have to deal with city-based conservatories. So in Haifa, we must collaborate. We have no other option because our students, they're circulating around many of the conservatories and ensembles. And everybody wants, and usually the students that come to our school are going to be the best students in those conservatories, those ensembles. So there must be collaboration because otherwise there are clashes.
It's the same in Jerusalem. As I told you, the conservatories, they bring the students, they teach them their instruments. From a very young age, we have to collaborate with them in order to, to educate the students, but let them also have their activity in the conservatories, because the conservatories, they keep them playing. And Jerusalem, as I see it, it's like a whole world. I wish I could collaborate with Haifa and Tel Aviv, but it's so, it has so many students and activities. So I'm just trying to keep Jerusalem together. I cannot even think about collaborating with Tel Aviv and Haifa. They're doing a great job, but we have so much work to do in our city.
I think I remember we're having this conversation, maybe even with Miki. I remember having conversations about thinking what collaborations we can do, and these are great ideas. And I have a list of collaborations that I'm really thinking of, conversations, canteen conversations that I had. Oh, we have to do this, we have to do that school over there, that school in a different country. Usually, more often than not, it's just about, as you said, Nimol, just trying to manage what's inside because there's so much activity. And again, these are very talented students and everybody wants to be a part of this success. So
I think what we lack actually is maybe transferring information and experience between each other about how to deal with this kind of students and how to make the music education better. I think this is something that we can actually do.
Like a quarterly
can make things more accurate.
Of things.
It would be like a help group.
Right.
A help group for us, we had something similar to this, I think, in the past, where only when I started as a teacher, we had meetings where we used to discuss between ourselves, just teachers of specific orientation. What do you do? What do you do in your school with
to
your
learn
kids?
from each other.
Because we have these very, I literally have not taught the same thing each year that I've been there. It's been always, it's a change because the students change and they keep on gearing it up. It becomes, so I think there is a necessity for that because there's so few of us.
Very interesting. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much.
המתחרה הבא מסיים את המקצה הזה. אנחנו נשמע עוד שני פסנתרנים הערב ב8 לפי שעון ישראל. The next competitor will conclude this session. 2 more pianists will perform tonight at 7 p.m. Central European Time. Competitor number 10, Itamar Feinberg, born in 2003 from Israel. Itamar will begin with his selection from the mandatory repertoire, a work by Mario Castelnuovo-Tedesco, an Italian Jewish composer whose music was silenced in Italy under Mussolini's regime. He will play the piece Le Danse del Re David by Castelnuovo-Tedesco. He will then play Beethoven's Sonata No. 28 in A major, opus 101. The next piece, Schumann, Davidsbündlertänze, opus 6, book 2, מחולות אגודת המלך דוד, and conclude with 3 movements from Bartók, out of doors, number 1, with drums and pipes, בתופים ובמחולות, number 4, the night's music, מוסיקת הלילה, and number 5, the chase, המרדף. איתמר פיינברג. you.